So I'm starting to think that we should just rip off a name from one of the other podcasts that's already on the internet. Like, just completely non sequitur.
Okay.
So from now on, the Rage Select weekly podcast is going to be called The Beerist.
Yes.
Because I can't think of anything
With Mark Marone.
Who is that?
He's some comedian guy.
Oh, okay.
No. Smodcast.
The Smodcast.
Welcome to the Smodcast.
Welcome to the Smodcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kevin Smith. I've got Jason Murphy with me. Or wait, who do you get to be? You're the Scott Mosier guy,
Scott
right?
Mosier, yeah.
There you go.
That's me.
We're going to do animations, too. It's going to be great. No, but this is
We don't know any animators.
Yeah, animation. It's real hard. I hear it takes a long time.
Yeah.
I don't have any training. But welcome, everybody. This is the Rage Select Podcast. I think we're on episode 9, I
Don't
guess.
know.
I mean, I'm trying to... I
Do
guess
not keep count. I have better things to do with my time.
then keep count of how many podcasts we've done.
I just show up, and then I'm here with you, my second wife, until my other wife, my first wife, gets angry, and then I go home. And it's the cycle of things.
Well,
and
I would
ultimately
think-
Ragnarok will come and free me.
Oh, see, I would think that after this weekend, you actually spent... You bunkered down in the
did.
Fallout shelter
No, I
with
stayed the fuck out of the Fallout shelter.
with Allison Smurfy, and you guys. What did you guys do? You were like, we're going off the grid this weekend.
Yeah, we went up to an undisclosed location.
Okay.
A cabin.
You bought some drugs, some
Bought
guns.
We did a lot of peyote. Bought some rations, some gold, which is buried in very secure places.
I hear the talk radio says gold, man. You buy your gold, dude. It's time.
Here's the thing. I was going to say, don't listen to talk radio, but don't listen to anybody. Make your own goddamn decisions, because everybody is full of shit. I don't even listen to Jeff.
Are you telling me-
I especially don't listen to Jeff.
Are you telling me that Sean Hannity is not the only person to listen to for all of my life decisions?
I'm telling you, Sean Hannity, Keith Olbermann, Rush Limbaugh.
What about Rachel Maddow? She's hot.
The president,
Sort of.
all of them full of shit. I don't even know who. Wait, is Rachel Maddow? Wait, is she? No, she. Okay.
So I like that one. That one just completely passed over your head.
Let's move past that one.
Who's that blonde on Fox News? Like that?
I don't know. One of the info babes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know, but no, well, dropping off the grid means I didn't really respond to many texts or emails. Didn't really go onto Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, and just went around enjoying Austin.
How are the DTs?
It was fine, actually.
Pretty good?
I'd had some practice from having my piece of shit burner phone.
Oh, right, your drug dealer phone.
Yeah. So, I couldn't really check Facebook and Twitter on that. So, hell, I even left the house without my phone.
What?
I know.
That is madness.
It was weird.
What if there was a nuclear apocalypse? How would you find? How would you?
How would I know?
How would you tell Twitter what you think about the nuclear apocalypse? Like YOLO? No, really, YOLO for real this time.
Yeah. YOLO, I have lesions. My skin is falling off. And I just had to fight a rad scorpion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's weird. I was actually thinking about that this weekend. I've been thinking a lot about the time before this time, back in the way back, before we all had cell phones that could do exactly what a computer can do, just
Yes.
shoved in our pockets all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Our cell phone is, and any one of our cell phones is more powerful than the ones that got people to the moon. the
well, yeah,
first time.
but whenever you're making that moon shit, like you want to use.
I'm making that moon shit like we actually went to the moon.
That's right. So you're saying that Alex Jones is definitely in the list of people to listen to, as opposed to those other phonies you were talking about before.
He is a crackpot who occasionally has moments of brilliance.
Okay. All right. So you enjoyed your weekend off the grid.
Yeah, it was good. It was, didn't really, just
Was it boring?
drank. No, not at all. Not at all. Drank some, went and saw some shows, ate some delicious food. That was about it. Yeah, it was pretty low-key.
Okay. Something you were saying before actually reminded me. I read. It seems like I've been reading a lot of blogs and shit on Facebook. And today I read.
There's your problem.
I read something on Facebook that was yet another person. Have you seen recently? It seems like there's a lot of people online who are. It seems like I'll get one of these a month that are like, Austin really isn't the greatest place in the entire world to live. Like Houston and New York City are way better. And I was thinking about it today. Like when did we? Are we putting that out there? Is Austin actually putting that out there that like Austin's the greatest city?
Are you talking
mankind
about
has
that?
ever created?
Are you talking about that one girl who
Yeah.
wrote that angry screed?
Yeah.
She had a lot of good points, but she was so hateful about it.
I mean,
I couldn't listen. But yeah, Austin is very proud of itself.
Yeah.
But maybe slightly more than other places, because I've met people from absolute shitholes who are very proud of their home.
of their shithole.
Of their shithole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it seemed to me like there was a while back I was seeing that whole when Lewis Black did that whole "fuck you Texas" video.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, but it was a comedy piece. It was people in New York, and it was like, here's why New York City is so much better than Texas.
Oh, see, now that's the thing that I get sick of.
I
New
don't
York.
know.
Just fine. You like New York. Just fucking, we get it.
I mean, I guess I'm impartial. I was born and raised here, but I don't really give a shit. Like, I like Austin. That's why I live here. But I would never tell somebody else, oh, fuck Detroit. Austin's the best city in the world or whatever. I mean, I just don't understand the hubris of. I mean, I've thought for years that the live music capital of the world is a little bit hyperbolic, shall we say.
Yeah. There is lots of live music.
Yes.
Maybe more than most places.
Maybe so.
I would say probably more than most places. Now, good live music, because there's a bunch of, as this guy I know in passing, there's a bunch of bands, this guy I know in passing calls them Mustang Sally bands.
Okay.
Where they're playing like shitty bar rock you would hear at an Applebee's or something. Like if there was
That
a band...
sentence doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Wait, what is Applebee's bar rock
like
mean?
or like Bennigan's. You ever go to Bennigan's when they would have live music?
No.
When Bennigan's was still open?
Wait, Bennigan's had live music?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know they had the Monte Cristo
anyway.
and the Big Irish, but I don't know about live music.
Which were awesome.
Yeah.
But it was, these bands that get up there and it's a bunch of old chubby dudes, Mustang Sally, just playing blues riffs. It's like, fuck,
So just
stop.
cover bands, just bar cover bands.
Basically, or then they're playing something that sounds like a cover, or they're playing one of their original things, and you're like, hey, just go back to playing covers. Just no.
Okay.
There's a lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of garbage in Austin. Here's the thing. I love Austin.
Yeah.
I love Austin. Is it perfect? No.
Yeah.
Not even by any stretch of the imagination. But when some pretentious cunt gets on the internet and
Get your hackles up.
and starts slagging everything, I'm like, all right, you and me, let's go. Let's get your ass to Williamsburg and shut the fuck up.
To be honest, it's one of those things where I read stuff like that, and there was a bunch of stuff that was something on like the Texas Monthly website about how Houston is so much better than Austin or things like that. I'm just like,
yeah, that's just link baiting.
Well, yeah, and whenever I read something like that, I'm just like, why are you even going to the trouble to play this "Who has the biggest city dick" contest? You just move to Houston and be done with it. Like I
don't like Houston.
I don't like Houston either.
Whatever.
Have you ever been bar hopping in Houston?
No.
That's because you can't. Because you have to drive for 30 minutes between bars to go bar hopping.
Yeah,
in
usually
Houston.
it's like we're at one bar.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, no, Austin is not perfect. It's too damn hot. Traffic is shitty.
So hot.
It's getting gentrified. It's not as cool as it used to be, but I like it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've lived here most of my life. The only other place I ever lived was Seattle. And Seattle has a lot in common with Austin of the kind of weird junk, and they've got good shows and stuff like that, except that it rains for 6 months out of the year. And you can't, I don't know, like you can still go outside when it's hot here. It sucks, but you can still do it. It's kind of shitty just standing around outside when it's raining.
I don't like going outside.
Yeah.
I'm done with that.
At all.
Yeah.
Fuck outside.
Yeah, I'm going to start building a tunnel to my car from my front door. Where I can just climb up under my car and get into the car.
Like a hatch in the bottom of your car that you can just go into.
The thing about Austin is shit's too crowded here now. It's like you have any sort of event and there's just too many people. It used to be where there was a moderate amount of people. Like I tried to go to Peter Pan Golf Saturday night. And I paid. Allison and I paid with mini golf place.
Right.
And then we stood there for a while and there were 4 families in front of us at 11 at night. And so it's just like, okay, no. Or you go to some, they show movies on the front lawn of of the Long Center or whatever.
Yeah.
They show movies there and and there was nowhere to sit. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not. No.
Yeah, I think that's probably like when I was in my early 20s, my early drinking days. I used to go see live music all the time in town. Just be like, hey, this is some band that I heard from a friend.
Yeah.
Let's go to check them out. But like even the last few South bys, when you try to go down there, it's like I wanted to go see one band at the last South by, but they were headlining. I'm like, I don't want to stand in line for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait through a bunch of other bands at a bar that I don't like.
Yeah.
Just to see this one band that I'm mildly interested
But see,
in.
I went to this one bar on Friday night, and there were like 10 people there.
Yeah.
That was it.
I think
it was great.
I honestly think that's why dive bars are kind of becoming this new thing, is because these shitty, sleazy little bars that nobody ever goes to, it's like you can go there. And the drinks are cheap, and there's a place to sit, and you don't have to worry about getting all fucked up. And
Tell me one dive bar that is not too fucking crowded on a Friday night.
Well, you know what? I was actually down at Nomad on Friday night, and there was a grand total of about 25 people in the entire place. Yeah,
That's not a dive bar, but
yeah.
really,
yeah. And then it started raining, and people started leaving, and then we had the whole place to ourselves.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. I don't know. I mean, there used to be places like if you find the right place, like G&S. Back in the old days, where the guy who ran the place was a cantankerous fuckwad, and if you pissed him off, he would overcharge you for drinks, and then if you pointed that out, he'd be like, "Fuck you, you're 86, don't ever fucking come back here," and like throw people out of the bar.
I don't put up with that shit. I do not know. That's the thing, is that it's customer service.
Yeah,
that's a premium to me.
Yeah,
I will tip well. Mm-hmm. I will be very nice to you. But if you start being a shithead, we're going to be in the parking lot, and I'm going to be holding you down while my wife parks her car on your fucking head.
Oh, man. I just make sure that you record that when it happens. Hey, bro, can you hold my cell phone? Can you record this real fast for me?
That's what we need, is video evidence.
Video evidence.
Homicide.
So let's see. I guess this weekend was pretty uneventful for me. I went and saw Pacific Rim.
Yeah, it was stupid.
I liked it.
I liked it too, but it was stupid.
It was pretty dumb, but like I don't care. I mean, I
knew you would.
And I didn't, and I thought it was great, and I liked the names of the big robots.
Oh,
They got really good names. Gypsy Danger, and what's Crimson Typhoon?
Yeah.
Joe, is that Cherno Alpha or something like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna name my car something like that.
Gypsy Danger.
Yeah, like
just paint it like a
malevolent vagabond.
No, I saw it and I really liked it. And that was, I mean, other than that, I coded a lot of videos and I drank a lot.
I didn't drink all that much, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had a problem on Saturday night. I was over at Randy's place playing Rock Band, and it kind of broke up at around 1:30, and I was like, I'm going to drive to the bar for last call. So then I got 2 beers and a shot in that last 30 minutes before they closed the bar. The next morning I woke up and it was just like, why did I do that? That was stupid. Like, I was by myself. I was just like, I need to be way more drunk right now.
You're like, I'm just not sad enough right now.
That's right. I'm not enough of a hazard to myself and others. I need another shot of Jägermeister right now. All right, man. Well, I tell you what, we've got a fair amount of news and stuff going on here today. So let's go ahead and kick it off with the latest in Microsoft turning their console into all the other consoles.
Backslide 2013.
Or
what's next?
This article says the Microsoft 180, as it's being called,
yes,
will now be allowing self-publishing.
Uh-huh.
So before you had to have a publisher, or you had to have Microsoft be your publisher, but you couldn't self-publish. And now it looks like they are reversing that decision.
Well, that's just opening the floodgates to the tide of shitty unfinished games that people are putting out there for no reason.
What do you mean? Like what?
Well, like the whole self-published portion on the Xbox 360.
Oh, the indie games channel on the 360?
Yeah,
that's
that wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, like it's funny because when Steam originally announced that they were going to require a $100 fee to get considered for greenlight, I was like, "Oh, you money grubbing sons of bitches!" And then I thought about it, and I was like, "No."
Yeah, this is to keep people from pooping in our ice cream.
Like I've thought from time to time about one week where there's I don't know. This week there's pretty much nothing for us to look at, but maybe a week when there's even less of nothing for us to look at, going and downloading every single Minecraft clone on the Xbox 360 indie channel
Yeah.
and reviewing them, like legit reviewing them.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. You're not up for that?
Nope.
You don't want to be part of that?
No, I have things to do. I have other things.
Anything.
Yeah.
I have to go play in traffic.
Yeah.
I have to light my hair on fire.
If you're talking about, Terraria or whatever, fine. But
Terraria is awesome.
I haven't played it yet.
Oh, it's really good.
But yeah, I'm not gonna indulge your masochism.
Well, I wonder if this
You
is,
already punish me enough.
I wonder if this is going to be the sort of thing where even if they are going to allow self-publishing, if they're going to have I haven't read too far into it yet, so I don't know, and maybe somebody knows and they can tell me, but I wonder if they're going to have something like Greenlight where they have maybe a group of people who are just like, yes, you can put that on there, and no, you can't put that on there.
That's
because can you imagine if they didn't break that channel off and they just let anybody self-publish anything on the fucking front page of the store of Microsoft? Like, they also, I mean, part of this was also
you have to have quality control.
Yeah. Part of this was also the announcement that the Xbox One retail will also be a dev kit so that you can work with it.
Oh,
right there.
Neat. Okay.
Which, I mean, I guess those two facts together mean they're going to have some kind of quality control because
you don't want quality
otherwise-
control. Get an Ouya. Quit fucking whining.
I struck it off the list, but there's a story that just made me laugh. It was like, what was it? Like
27%.
27% of people who have purchased an Ouya have actually bought anything on the Ouya.
I met a guy who bought one the other day.
Really?
He was like, yeah, I got an Ouya. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry for your purchase. And he's like, yeah, it's a good home theater PC for people who don't have the money for a home theater PC.
But I saw there was I wish I knew where it was, but somewhere I heard that Google is going to be offering like a $35 streaming set-top box, like Chromebox.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just plug HDMI into it and it'll do Netflix and Amazon, and you can stream shit from your computer for like $35.
Nice.
So
okay.
I mean,
I just put it on a USB key, and plug it into my PlayStation or Xbox. Because those usually they'll just grab the codec for you if you don't have it.
Right. Well, would you spend $35 to not have to do that part of the process?
$35? Yeah, sure.
Go to like input 4 and then just be like, play whatever, man. Fuck it. Totally works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Well, so that's the Xbox One's. I feel like we launched this site and this podcast at just the right time, that every week there's been some Xbox One news of them doing something.
I hope next week somebody catches Don Matrick with a hooker.
But see, he doesn't work there anymore. There'll be Zynga news.
Doesn't
not
matter.
Microsoft
I still
news.
want to talk about it.
Oh yeah, we were going to call this the Don Matrick Memorial Podcast.
That's right.
It's the DM cast.
We need some fan art of Matrick as a pinata and me and Jeff wailing on it.
No, make him one of those Viva Pinata animals.
Yeah,
Chocodile or whatever. What do they call? Do you know some of
I
the
didn't play that shit? I don't know.
Viva Pinata? I know a lot of people who swear by Viva Pinata. I have a friend who's just like obsessed with it. But anyway, this leads into probably the biggest story as of right now, or as of the time that we're recording this, which is that, okay, so apparently Game Trailers contacted Phil Fish and Jonathan Blow.
Phil Fish, developer of Fez.
Yes, and Jonathan Blow, the developer of Braid, and so their new games, well, we'll get into that, but Jonathan Blow is making, what's it called, the Witness? The Witness, I believe,
I don't remember.
Is the one they showed on the PS4 for comments about this, because those dudes kind of everybody I guess agrees that they're kind of the face of indie gaming or whatever,
bearing the standard of lunatics sitting alone in a cheap apartment for years. So both of them seemed like they were real irritated and they didn't want to give them, or no, it was Game Informer who contacted them, and both of them seemed irritated. I thought it was Game Trailer.
No, that's the second part of the story.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't really want to comment on it. I think that I read at one point. See, okay, Phil Fish is, a lot of his shit's been redacted, so I can't look it up since then. But I think that the sentiment was that they were kind of dicks about it, but the attitude was like, well, we don't know anything yet about this, and we'll talk about it when we know something. So then there was this Invisible Walls is a show on Game Trailers, and this guy Marcus Beer went on there and basically said that Phil Fish and Jonathan Blow were being dicks about that. That like, if you're going to be this indie game tour that you're both jerk offs and that you need to say something when people call you up for a quote. He actually went as far. I don't know. This is a little bit.
They were baiting him.
Well,
but there was obviously. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Marcus Beer, I don't know. Like, I don't really know that guy. I don't really watch that show or whatever. I mean, I looked at some of his stuff. Even on that show, he was like, I am an asshole. Like, he was owning up to this, like, just I'm an abrasive jerk off. But he said towards the end of that, like, if these guys think that they're so high and mighty, then the next time that they need us to pimp out, they need game journalists to pimp out their new game when it's coming out, we should tell them, well, go fuck yourself. You don't want to give us quotes for the stories that we're running, then we don't really want to pay any attention to you. And that was kind of the lot of it. Well, then Phil Fish went on his Twitter and basically had himself a goddamn meltdown.
Yeah.
That kind of culminated in him making these really kind of gross comments about like how I'm successful and you're just
he was acting like an asshole.
Yeah, and he was. So here's the thing: is that there's a quote from there. This is the big thing. This is a quote from Futurama. Compare your life to mine, and then go kill yourself. Now, before we move on any further, I just want to say right now, I think in the day and age in which we live, like, there were a lot of people who were just aghast that he would say, go kill yourself.
I think I've said that a few times.
On the internet?
Yeah.
On the internet.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Right.
That is nothing. Like, on the internet, you saying that you want to have sexual congress with my rectum is like kind of the same as, hey, how's it going?
I don't remember that happening, but continue.
Well, this is
I'll allow it.
Okay. But, like, getting bent out of shape about that, I think it's less about that particular statement, more just like people want to get bent out of shape about this particular issue.
Yeah.
Well, then it became this big old flame war. And as a result, Phil Fish was like, I'm canceling Fez 2.
Yeah.
I'm leaving this industry. Kind of go fuck yourself.
Good. Fine. Whatever. See, okay. I think that he already has a personality, a reputation as an irascible character. And I think that bears out. My first exposure to him was from Indie Game the Movie.
Right.
Which, in watching that, I was thinking, I thought, this guy's kind of a dickhead. That's what I thought. I didn't like him. I did not like him based on Indie Game the Movie.
Right.
And then it turns out that, yeah, he very much has that reputation. And so I think that there was more to it. I think that it wasn't just his response. It wasn't Marcus Beers reacting to Phil Fish's response. It was Marcus Beers reacting to Phil Fish.
I agree with that. But the thing that I've been thinking about most this weekend, since I originally read this story, which I actually did when I was at that bar getting my last 3 drinks, and I went to the Polytron website and I was looking at the comments on there, and what I was thinking was, it's kind of one of those things where you say, like, can you still enjoy the product that somebody puts out if that person is a complete dickwit?
An age-old argument. And that's tough, separating the art from the artist.
Right.
I mean,
like
I love Mad Max, but Mel Gibson, man.
Well, can you watch Roman Polanski? Can you say you like Roman Polanski movies anymore?
I have trouble with watching Roman Polanski movies. And I feel like I should be able to separate that, but I can't. I can't.
The other thing that it's like I remember Indie Game the Movie, and I'll be honest, when I watched Indie Game the Movie, I thought Phil Fish came off like a dickweed as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is that,
it wasn't just there; it was all over the place.
Sure. But then on the other hand, it's like I ask this question all the time, saying like, so the guys from Indie Game the Movie call up Phil Fish and they say, we're doing this documentary about indie video games. Can we come follow you around and do this, whatever? And then some shit goes down and they catch him in candid moments and he looks like a total douchebag. I mean, he's kind of a douchebag, but the thing is, I don't know. I feel like sometimes that there's this problem with the way that we as a society deal with social media, especially Twitter, is that Twitter is so easy for you to be drunk or you're fucked up in the head or somebody sets you off or you're having a bad day and suddenly you go say some shit on Twitter that you would never say if you were calm and rational and thinking about it. You have an emotional reaction to something and you go out there and you're like, well, then fuck those guys or whatever. and then you're done. It's that forever. There's no way to ever redact that. There's no way to ever get that off of your conscience. And I mean, like, I read an article on Cracked last week that was like 5 stars that have performed like these heinous crimes that we don't remember these days because everybody, like, because it was an article.
They didn't tweet it.
Well, yeah, because it was an article and it happened and then it went away. Is that we have an infinite memory with this shit now, is that you can look it up at any time. You can look up that quote or that tweet if somebody has reblogged it somewhere.
It sucks, but that's the way it is. There's no changing that. There are plenty of people who don't have those meltdowns, who may very well be complete shitheads, but they don't parade it around the internet like Phil Fish does. He had already built up this reputation, and I'm sorry, if you didn't want people to react to you like that and to totally just take great schadenfreude or to enjoy the schadenfreude of you having this meltdown, then don't build up this reputation like that. Be more careful. Hire someone to do PR.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry. He had already put himself out there and had already built his brand as, I'm Phil Fish, and yeah, he may be honest, but your honesty, okay, good. You're not hiding the fact that you're an asshole.
Right.
You know, that's what it is. This is the nature of things, and he knows that, and yet he still thinks, well, I should be able to act how I want. It's like, fine, act how you want. Be honest about who you are. And if you're being honest about who you are, then you have to be ready for people to call you out and say, yeah, who you are is a shitbag.
I mean, I don't know, because in some cases I think about, like, if you're like a Ken Levine, right? If you're like a game developer that works for a big corporation or something, you have somebody out there like looking out for your public persona. You got somebody out there to kick out trolls and to ban people and et cetera, et cetera. But if you're just some fucked up indie developer,
he's not some babe in the woods, though. But he knows that you put something on Twitter, it's fucking out there. And he should know by now that people aren't going to go, yeah, Phil, that people are going to see him for the irascible, disagreeable person that he has presented himself as being in the past.
I guess for me what it just comes down to is that like a lot of times I feel when you hit these stories that it's like, and I know how this sounds. Like, I know that this is going to be just pie in the sky fucking like I'm a naive asshole thing, but like I don't think that necessarily one of your skills of being a game developer should have to be putting up with unending amounts of shit from people on the internet gracefully.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now let's switch game developer out for game critic.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe it's... I don't know. I mean, maybe I couldn't do this if I got the amount of crap on a daily basis that this guy got.
But you don't act like that guy.
Well, I know that. I guess for me, it's just disappointing that it's like, I like Fez, right?
Yeah.
I would like to play Fez too.
Sure.
I think to me, it's a really irritating thing that this personal meltdown bullshit, he's an ass, whatever. Like, I wish somebody would just take him and shove him in a room and take his cell phone away and be like, make Fez 2.
Yeah.
And don't talk to anybody. Like, go drink with us on the weekends, but you can't have a cell phone because
give me a very successful indie game. One that was developed on the level of like Phil Fish, like
Braid?
with like a couple. Okay, Jonathan Blow.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Well, this guy's already somewhat involved in the story. Give me a different one. Someone unrelated.
Like a specific
or a game. You don't even have to give me the name. Just give me...
Okay, you know what? I know where you're going with this, and the one that everybody throws out there that's a really good example is Notch, that made Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like, incredibly successful. Nobody really even knows much about that guy. Like, he kind of just keeps his shit under wraps.
Yep.
You know, like he wasn't in Indie Game the movie. I mean, there's a documentary about Minecraft, but I haven't watched it yet. But I don't know. I don't know. It's
Notch smart enough not to show his ass on the internet.
Right. I guess it's just, to me...
And he might be a horrible fucking person. We don't know.
Yeah.
You know? It's like Phil Fish could totally present himself to be a good person. He could have... That's the thing. It's like, you're in control. When you're pressing send, have some fucking responsibility. When you're pressing submit, you're doing this.
Yeah.
And just because he doesn't fucking know better, just because he's a game developer and not a PR guy... You know, ignorance and being an asshole is no excuse. Like, well, he's a game developer. He's not supposed to have any social graces. No, fuck him.
Yeah, I don't know. I I to me it just comes back to what I said. I want to play Fez 2. And I think it's shitty that this has stopped Fez 2 from happening.
That didn't stop Fez 2 from happening. Him taking his ball and going home stopped it from happening. So you got shit on Twitter and people were saying, good, you're an asshole. And so you just said, okay, fuck my dreams. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Grow a pair.
Yeah.
Grow up here and soldier forth and quit being a dick on the internet and make your dreams happen. Make Fez 2 happen. Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Don't grab your ball and go home and have your mom fucking wipe your ass for you.
I don't know. I guess I can't count the number of times in the midst of somebody saying something that I didn't agree with that I've had my finger on the submit button with a really irascible fucking jerk off comment to respond to somebody.
Sure.
And that eventually the part of me just gets the bet that I'm like ready to, or sometimes I'll even post that shit and then delete it and be like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Right.
And I guess that I just like, it's one of those pet peeves of mine that I feel like that part of the internet part of having any kind of persona on the internet has become you must have the ability to deal with whatever fucked up shit that people throw your way.
You do. It's part of being a person.
But the thing is that, for
internet aside, you have to be able to deal with fucked up shit that people throw your way.
You know for a fact that if those, Marcus Beer aside, you know that 90% of these people who make these kind of comments on the internet, they do not have the balls to walk up to you in real life and say this shit to your face.
Okay,
so
sure.
That's what pisses me off about it, is that they get to hide behind the goddamn anonymity of I can create a new Twitter account, create an anonymous account on your board, I can talk all the shit I want to all day long, and you're supposed to let all of that just roll off your back without ever getting pissed off. You're supposed to handle it super gracefully.
This has been going on for 20 years now. He's not some babe in the woods. Take some responsibility.
No, I know this. It's just like I said.
It's like if you're gonna sow it, then you're gonna fucking reap it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be an asshole, you're gonna get people being an asshole back to you.
Maybe this goes beyond that, just to me wishing that people could be a little bit more fucking civilized on the internet.
That would be awesome.
And
we would be out of a job.
What, if everybody was civilized on the internet?
Yeah. What would we do? Be handing out zines on the drag?
Yeah. We're going to start our new indie publishing business.
Here's something I printed off at Kinko's. My review of Deadpool. I can't put it on the internet because we have to be nice.
Well, no. But the thing is that even as bad as we are on this show, we don't really go after anybody in particular.
Well, okay. Don Matrick, Randy Pitchford, Phil Fish.
Okay. All right. Maybe I don't go after anybody in particular.
Yeah. No, see, that's the thing, is that I don't get a lot of hate directed at me on the internet.
Right.
Which is very surprising to me.
Surprising to me, too.
It's very surprising. I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe it's all because I think people know that I'm just fucking around and joking.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the internet is not a nice place, and yes, people do hide behind their anonymity, and it's bullshit.
It's
terrible.
I mean, I guess,
but you also have to be equipped to deal with that because he's putting himself out there. You know what? What's Notch's real name? You don't know. What's Phil Fish's real name? Phil fucking Fish.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it got me like this weekend when I read that news, and I went to the front page of Polytron Digital, and like they had the announcement, and then they had the comment section.
Yeah,
it was like 150 pages worth of fine fag. Get the fuck off there. Fucking Fez was a piece of shit. You deserve to die. Get the fuck out of here. And it was just like I feel like a lot of
that was the thing that people were saying. Oh, Fez was a piece of shit. I'm like, no, it wasn't. You can attack the guy for a lot of things, but Fez, come on.
I guess it's just the more, and this isn't a new thing. It's definitely not a new thing, but it's just something that got me thinking about it. Of like, if you had to put your fucking face and real name when you went out there and said, "Good job, faggot, go jump in a fire, you fucking piece of shit," Fez was like, most people wouldn't have the stones to go up to the table with their real name and their real face and their real identity and say that kind of shit. And sometimes it just gets under my skin, the fact that these people, that you're allowed to just hide. You could just, you could be a dick.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about, this week I was thinking a lot about being old, and I was thinking about, when we grew up, like if you were going to write an irascible letter to the editor about the president or something like that,
sure,
you sign your real name on that shit because they wouldn't run that in the paper. Or if you were going to be on a talk show and you were going to give your opinion about politics or society or whatever, they put your fucking name at the bottom. They put your face up there.
Yeah.
Like the only time that you ever got anonymity back in those days was when your life, you were talking about like, I sold out the mob for $10,000. They put you in that black, they black out you, they change your stuff. And that now it's like anybody with no repercussions can just go out in this world and let their inner asshole just go berserk.
Yeah.
You can. I read an article not too long ago about this woman who runs a female-focused comic book blog who had this one troll who wouldn't go away.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And if she wouldn't if she wouldn't interact with him, he would start abusing other commenters.
Yeah.
And she would ban him and get a new IP, and she'd ban him and get a new IP, and then she'd call a service provider to try to figure out how to get him the fuck off there.
Right.
And this guy had made it his life's goal to just be a dick to this person.
Yeah.
And I honestly have come to the conclusion that, like, when we started off with the internet, it was the whole digital frontier, it's a new world, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like, fuck that. You should be able to find out who that fucking person is and keep them from being a dickweed to you.
Okay, so maybe here's an idea. And yes, I am backing you into a corner. Maybe whenever we log onto the internet, we should all have to enter our internet ID.
I actually was talking with somebody about this over the weekend where I said that I think that the internet would be a much more interesting place if you had to use your real name.
Okay.
Your Twitter handle's your real name. Your YouTube ID is your real name. It's your real name.
I'm going to enter your ID and see what fucked up, horrible porn you have been looking at.
You really don't want to see that.
And it's going to be out there.
You really don't want to see that.
And your mom is going to see it.
But see, the thing is that's different. Like, passive viewing of something isn't...
But if you have to say something...
If you have to say something...
So a commenter ID.
Exactly. And you know what? And the thing is that I understand all of the arguments against that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, if you're doing that, your friends should know that you're that asshole.
Okay,
like,
well, how about this?
People should get to know if you're out there, like, on, like, if you're going to, like, I don't know, pick one, anything. If you're going to a Jewish message board and being anti-Semitic all over the place for kicks to see people's reactions.
Or what if you're going to a support forum about a horrible gang rape that you experienced, that you were at the receiving end of?
Okay. It's real easy. I understand, Jason.
I'm not making light of that. I'm saying that would be a case where these people need privacy.
That is correct. But to comment on video game shit on the internet, I mean, the thing is that this is... I am not Overlord of Earth, and I can't flip the switch. I mean, as much as I would love to be Overlord of Earth, I can't flip the switch to make everybody use their fucking real name. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, the thing that lets people do this shit and remain safe is the fact that there is no accountability.
Right.
So nobody ever gets to know who you are. You make a free account, and then you're fucking boom out.
Yeah.
So if you had to have some sort of accountability, I feel like in the old days before this shit started, that was what kept people from acting like fucking drooling, raving, mad, crazy people.
Yeah.
Is the fact that your fucking face is going to be on TV when you spew all that bullshit that you're saying. So I don't know. I'm sure that people...
There's no easy answer.
There is no easy answer. It's the same sort of thing you get on the Xbox and PlayStation about how do you really deal with troll problems.
Right.
With people taking, telling women to show them their tits on Xbox Live. How do you get that person out of the mix while retaining the system that you already have? And I don't know. It's not an easy solution. I just wanted to play Fez 2.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that by and large that the internet proves that many people, I don't want to say most, but many people, maybe half, are at their core monsters.
Yeah.
Just pieces of shit.
Yeah. Maybe so. Or maybe, I mean, I read a thing.
And I've been that piece of shit before.
Me too. I used to, back in the old days, I used to go into Yahoo Chat and troll Christians. because it was real easy and I worked third shift and I got bored all the time.
I used to troll EverQuest players.
There you go.
EverQuest message boards.
Well,
that was fun.
Chuck Christ has stories he's told me about griefing players in EverQuest until they literally quit the game and unsubscribed from EverQuest.
Oh, no, that's like doctor level trolling.
Like
that's
finding
PhD.
Finding somebody in EverQuest and following them through the game for like 8 hours, griefing them. And every time they come back, you grief them and you grief them and you grief them until the point where they're just like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. I don't even want to play this game anymore. All right. Well, you know what? That's enough of that. And I'm probably giving you guys enough shit to be mad at me about this week. So let's move on to, let's see. We're running a little bit long. So we're going to breeze through some of these last ones. I'm going to skip that one and that one. Activision bought itself back from Vivendi Universal for $8 billion last week.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a little weird. Apparently,
that's a lot of money.
Vivendi is having some financial problems. So they were looking to kind of get out from underneath them. Let's see. These transactions together represent a tremendous opportunity for Activision Blizzard and its shareholders, including Vivendi, said Kotick. We should emerge even stronger, an independent company with a best-in-class franchise portfolio, the focus on the flexibility to drive long-term shareholder value and expand our leadership position as one of the world's most important entertainment companies.
Okay.
So,
sure.
I think they're going to build the Terror Drome next, right? Is that what they...
So Vivendi Universal, I'm wondering where their problems come from.
Yeah.
That they would get rid of a cash cow like Activision.
Well, let's see.
Is it from flagging box office receipts?
On
the Universal branch? I don't know. I'm curious.
Financially strapped conglomerate Vivendi wasn't able to sell off its controlling interest in Activision Blizzard. Oh, looks like they were looking to sell anyway. I mean, it just looks like Vivendi Universal. I mean, I don't have all the specifics. I didn't look into it that much, but it looks like they were in trouble. They tried to sell off Activision, and Activision just put together the money and bought themselves.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's pretty cool. Like maybe I don't know. Here's the like crazy stupid Optimus Prime in me is that. Maybe all the bad decisions from Activision were because they were getting pressure from Vivendi Universal. And now that they're out from underneath the evil corporate hands of Vivendi Universal, they'll go ahead and get their shit together and start becoming the magnanimous publishing giant that we all want them to be.
No, Virginia, there is not a fucking Santa Claus.
So you're saying that now it's just like, now that they're an independent operator, they can be even more evil. So at the end of the day,
one giant conglomerate broke off from another giant conglomerate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? More evil, less evil, the same amount of evil?
Same amount of evil.
Same amount of evil.
I think so.
All right.
I mean, that's the thing. Like Vivendi Universal, they probably didn't even have any clue what was going on.
Yeah.
At the level that makes a difference to gamers.
Okay.
You know, it's like
a bunch of guys in a boardroom.
It's like, you think Disney has any clue what decisions are being made as far as, like, you know, Hawkeye goes or whatever on the comic book level?
No.
So yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Okay.
I think it's all just numbers on a page to them.
All right. Well, let's move on to Neil. Say his last name for me. I always get tripped up.
Oh, Gaiman.
Gaiman.
Yeah.
Is starting up is making a game. Wayward Manor.
Cool.
That
the guy is brilliant.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever been disappointed with anything I've ever read of his.
Did you ever read Sandman all the way through?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There comes a point where you're reading it and you're like, oh, this is different. This is this is huge. This is a big thing, you know. And it still is. It holds up.
I think the last thing that I read of him was the one about the apocalypse. Was that him that he wrote with somebody else?
I don't know. I haven't read
Good something or
most of his stuff.
So yeah. So here's the premise. There's a house in 1920s New England, and it is the player's responsibility as its deceased occupant to frighten away the manor's new, still living tenants. That sounds great.
Sounds like Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah, it totally does sound like Beetlejuice. I was actually thinking more of that Sega Genesis game where you play like the skate punk Ghost Haunted or Haunting or
I don't recall.
Ghost something or maybe even like Ghost Trick. But
yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah, it's definitely one to keep on the list.
Probably something Allison's gonna get all in a kerfluffle for.
Well, and then the guys that are making it is the Odd Gentleman who made the Misadventures of PB Winterbottom. Did you ever play that?
Oh,
the black and white
yeah.
game with the pies and shit.
Yeah,
that was a fun game.
Very weird and Victorian and gothy.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I bet it's going to be cool. And I don't think we have anything else to talk about with that. Finally, as if we've got a lot of dead horses laying around here that we need to kick from time to time, Jason.
Yeah.
Michael Biehn has said that with an interview with Game Informer,
Hicks.
yes, that his work with Gearbox on Aliens Colonial Marines was not really all that great. It seemed kind of passionless, being said in an interview with Game Informer. I think in movies, television, and the gaming world, you get some people that are really, really passionate and some people that are just going through the paces.
Oh, you don't say.
Wait, they think that because they have a brand name, they're going to get a hit game or a hit movie out of it. That certainly was the situation on Aliens Colonial Marines.
Mm-hmm.
He also said that he really liked working on as Rex Power Colt in Blood Dragon. He said that was real fun.
See, yes.
Yeah. So
and it shows.
Yeah.
It shows. He's like, every day me and Randy Pitchford went out and he made me pee on a poster of the original Alien. And yeah. And then he wrote, and here's something I carved out of soap. I call it players' expectations. And we're going to pee on that too. I like to imagine that Michael Biehn goes in there and everyone's really sad. And he's like, hey, why are you so down today? They're like, I wish I was working on Borderlands 2.
Well, but you know what? It's funny how he says this. Like, maybe I'm not enough of a Michael Biehn fan to really understand the difference. But to me, his voice renditions in Blood Dragon and Aliens Colonial Marines seemed largely similar. He's not exactly the most super emotive actor in the entire world.
I don't know. I thought you could tell a difference. I thought Blood Dragon sounded like he was having fun.
Yeah.
And then in Aliens Colonial Marines, he sounded like, all right, let's just get this over with.
Yeah. Well, no, he did sound especially like the first time that you find him, it was just like, you can almost imagine that in like the ADR they had to like cut out a giant sigh before every line, just like, thanks for the rescue, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, I wonder how much longer we're going to be able to squeeze this bloody rock of Aliens Colonial Marines. Surely there can't be that much more. Did that DLC for it come out yet?
I will not rest.
You will not rest. Did you buy it?
Yes.
You still own an actual physical copy of that game?
I gave it away.
Did you?
Yeah.
When?
Like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, shit. We got to check out the DLC, man.
Fuck you. No.
There's no games coming out. We need to check out the DLC for Aliens Colonial Marines. Come on. No?
No.
You're talking to your dog. No.
No, I will not. Not going back there.
Oh,
no.
all
we
right.
have much more interesting things to play this summer.
Like
we can go back to Bit Trip Fate for all I care.
You'd rather play Bit Trip Fate than...
Yes.
Okay. By the way, a lot of people came in to say that Bit Trip Fate... that the Bit Trip Runner series is actually way better than Bit Trip Fate.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. There's enough talk about it that it has to be better.
Yeah.
Because what we played...
I wouldn't understand why they would get to make like 3 or 4 games even if that was just it. Somebody else said that you have to play that game with a mouse and a keyboard. I was like, I don't understand why.
One thing that I realized is that you do have to listen to it. Because it is very much an audio experience. But I don't think it makes that much difference.
I still don't understand why you make a dual joystick shooter and then put it on rails. I don't understand why it was on rails. That was the thing that freaked me out. All right. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break before we get into the emails here. But as a side note, there is one other thing that I want to address here real fast, just talking about the games that we record. So I want to let you guys all know, it seems like it's been a while. We haven't mentioned this in a while.
Okay.
We record the videos before they come out on the internet. So on Thursday, when Shadowrun had been out for about 3 hours, and I put up Smurfs 2, somebody was like, Why are you playing this? You should be playing Shadowrun.
Sorry, guys. We don't get stuff in advance.
Yeah, we need a little bit of time.
Yet.
And on Saturday,
we're working on that.
In Undead Nightmare, somebody said, "When are you going to play this game already?" And I looked it up. It's not even out.
What game is that?
I can't remember.
Right.
But it was like they were asking, and I went and I looked up the webpage for it, and it was like, the game isn't even out yet. I can't. I mean, like I'd love to be able to play games before they come out, but we just don't.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there. But as of now, it's like we play a game. Like we played Shadowrun on Thursday, and then it went up on Monday.
Yeah.
So that's not too long of a wait.
I mean, the thing to remember is that we've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all already have a thing on them. Yeah. So Friday is for Indies, Saturday is for Red Dead, and Sunday is for Sparkle Fandango. So if a game comes out on Thursday, chances are you're probably going to see it by Monday. Whereas if a game comes out on Tuesday, you'll probably end up seeing it Wednesday, Thursday, depending on the game or depending on whatever. But yeah, I just want to adjust people's expectations because I get a lot of that. Also, some people seemed upset that we played Smurfs last week instead of some of the other suggestions that we had in that one forum thread. But
guys, I got to tell you, honestly, our Smurfs playthrough was probably more fun, in spite of the fact the game was shitty. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes if it's a really bad game, the playthrough is more fun. But you guys already know that.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to take a real quick break, but when we come back, we're going to answer, I think I got about 10 emails to just whip through real fast. So we'll see you back here in virtually no time at all.
Goodbye.
All right, time for the questions. Time for the questions. Are you ready, Jason?
Sure.
Okay. This first one comes in from Kenny, and Kenny asks, was it actually, just as a quick side note, somebody put on my Twitter, my Facebook, they just started playing The Walking Dead, and they understood the whole "fuck you, Kenny" thing.
Kenny,
that guy was a dick,
man.
You
gotta reconsider that, man. Kenny, there are worse guys out there.
Oh yeah, no,
Kenny and I were tight.
Oh really? Anyway, Kenny asks, ever since Batman Arkham Asylum came out, the detective mode has been added to many video game titles like Hitman Absolution and Dark. My question is, do you guys at Rage Select think that this feature should be added to more action-adventure games, not added to too many action-adventure games, or be removed altogether? Keep up the good work. From Kenny.
Well, if it fits, use it. It's it's just another mechanic, and I don't think there should be any, like, it should be in all of them, or it should be in less, or anything like that. Sometimes, yeah, it makes sense. When I was playing Deadpool, actually. Mm-hmm. And I actually found myself trying to use the detective mode.
What?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's not a thing.
I don't know. I mean, I think that like it's an interesting. I think it's interesting because it's a way to convey information about your environment instead of having a map.
Yeah,
like you can go into detective mode. You can see like maybe a breadcrumb trail to where you're going, or like a objective marker. You could see enemies through walls and stuff.
Yeah.
As a way to keep the HUD to a minimum, and to more kind of, at least in the single player, gamify the experience of finding enemies and navigating the environment instead of just giving you, a map that you either have to stop the game and look at or another piece of on-screen display. Because I don't know. Have we ever talked about this? Like, I'm not really. I love it when developers figure out ways to integrate the HUD into the game.
Sure.
Like in Dead Space or Riddick was a good example of the way there was very little HUD elements there.
Yeah, well, that's been something that they've been struggling with for a long time. I remember reading an interview with John Carmack probably 10, 15 years ago where he was talking about how HUDs interrupted or disrupted the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
And I can see that. I, on the other hand, like the HUD. I like having all that right there. As long as it doesn't become too cluttered on the screen, I like having that, not having to, press select or whatever, or not having to look down at my Wii pad.
I mean, I guess I'm thinking back to the most recent example that I can think of. I don't know if you would really classify this in the same as the rest of it, but the whole listening mechanic in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And how that I would have much rather have had that than a map that showed, little paths where the zombies were or whatever, even if it was somehow integrated into the thing.
No, that was a clever compromise.
I mean, the only problem, I guess, is that in original Arkham Asylum, they had the problem where it became stupid to turn it off.
Yeah.
So you're playing the entire game in detective mode, which they solved by taking the HUD elements away in Arkham City, right? When you turned it on, they made that change.
I don't remember.
I think they did that to keep you from being in there the entire time. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's fine. I think that it at least shows people trying to do something creative.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I mean, I liked it in Tomb Raider had that.
Yeah.
And I liked it in Tomb Raider as well.
I like it when it fits. It has been showing up more and more. I don't have a problem with it per se, just as long as it works in the game that you're playing.
Yeah. As for Dark, I wish there was more. I wish that it had more elements. Guys, can we talk for a minute about Dark, Jason?
Sure.
I gotta ask you guys, the viewers, the listeners, during this particular segment. It took me forever to get to level 2 of Dark because I hate that game so much. Like, do you guys really need me to do a review of Dark? Like, I really don't want to play that game. It really is. I got to level 2 and then I looked at a fact and it was like there's 6 levels in this game. And
you need less joy in your life.
Oh God, it's so terrible. So yeah, please leave a comment. Let me know if you. I don't want to do it.
They're gonna say yes.
I know. They're gonna say yes because I'm this pathetic when I'm talking about it. But I really wish that you guys would just say no, Jeff. It's okay. Why don't you go play a game that you really like?
I'm not playing it.
Well, I know you're not playing it.
Nope.
I know you're not playing it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on. This is from Andrea. Andrea says, "Dear Jason and Jeff, and whoever is guest starring this time, I am the Queen of Pandas, and I command you to read my email. Thank you."
Okay. Great.
Okay. What does the Queen of Pandas do? You keep the pandas in check? Make sure that they aren't fucking around or whatever?
I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Let's see. In GTA San Andreas, the fatter your player was, the slower he was, and the harder it was for him to do things like climb over fences or run very far. But the stronger your character got, the easier it was to do those things. Do you think it would be possible to bring something like that back into video games? Like if the player was overweight in the beginning of the game and later on became stronger and healthier? Thanks for reading my question on the air. And if you got it, and Cocaine Princesses for the win. I don't know. What do you think? Weight loss in video games is a thing?
I think it actually worked really well in San Andreas.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen it in anything else aside from Wii Fit.
I remember seeing Fable 2 had like a food mechanic, and I remember that my friend was playing it, and she was upset because she was playing a lady avatar.
Yeah.
And her lady was like fucking big, like wide and big, and it turns out that there were like 3 schools. There was the melee school, and then there was the magic, and then there was something else or whatever. And then if you put all your points into melee, it made your lady character super big.
Yeah.
But if you ate a bunch of I think it was celery was the only thing that had negative weight, that it would make them back into svelte looking character. I don't know. I think it's definitely something. I mean, we didn't make Loretta super fat in Saints Row, but I think that it was interesting in GTA because it forced you to, in this weird thing where it was you had the hunger meter, right, where you had to eat from time to time.
I don't remember.
But then if you ate and then you didn't work out, then you would get fatter, and if you worked out and you didn't eat, then you would get skinnier. But if you ate and worked out, you would get all muscly and shit. I don't know. That was a really interesting system. I'd like to see them bring something like that in GTA 5. Just so that I can make who's the redneck guy?
Oh,
I keep forgetting his name.
Yeah,
like super fat redneck.
Yeah,
I don't know. There needs to be more super fat protagonists in video games.
I concur.
I remember there was did you read Conan?
Yeah,
there's a Conan story, like one of the first Conan stories, where like he teams up with this thief who is like incredibly obese but also super nimble and quiet. And shit.
Yeah.
It was a really cool
was that
story.
Tower of the Elephant?
It may have been. I think it was in the first book. It was like the first story was that he gets the sword.
I've read a lot of Conan, but I have trouble keeping them straight.
I can see that.
I've got a massive collection of Conan comics.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I read the first one. I thought it was really good.
I spent like $30 on
at half price books.
No, at Sidekick Store.
Oh, really?
The other day, yeah. I bought like all because they're all like a buck there. I bought like a bunch of Conan and then a bunch of Power Man and Iron Fist. But I've got like all of the.
You bought Power Man and Iron Fist?
I did.
Come on,
right?
Jason.
But it was mostly Conan. But yeah, I've got like several. I've got a couple of those big collections that I think I have printed versions of all of the Robert E. Howard Conan stories.
Really?
Yeah, but
are they real faithful to the books?
No, these are the books.
Oh, they're the books.
Yeah, I have the comics as well, but I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, these are like the reprints of the actual books and stories. And stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I do have trouble keeping them all straight though. So I'm not a Conan authority. I am a Conan fan though.
Okay. What did you think about? Did you ever read Cerebus?
No, I never did.
Yeah. That starts out as just a hardcore Conan parody. It goes into some really weird places, and I don't recommend reading past like the 4th or 5th book, maybe, because that's when Dave Sid went insane.
I heard he had some issues.
Yeah,
he had some trubs with the ladies, and let that kind of
real weird.
Let that get under his skin a little bit.
Yeah, you talk about Phil Fish meltdown. Dave Sim.
Yeah.
Whoa. By the end of this, the entirety of the Cerebus story, I believe that this weird form of feminism has taken over the planet, made everybody's life hell or something like that.
Wow.
They had this one story arc that was actually kind of right around the time that he was turning, where the women were in charge of everything, and that if you were an unemployed man, I guess, you would just live in the bar. So all the alcohol was free, and all the bars had a place like a dormitory where you could live. And they basically did this to just get men the fuck out of the way. So if you didn't want to work, you could just live at a bar.
That's awesome. That sounds great.
You see why it worked so well, right?
Yeah. Way to wear it on your sleeve there, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's see. Our next email, we're whipping through these. Next email is from That Siberian Guy. And that Siberian Guy says, "Greetings, gentlemen. Great show, gameplays, and reviews. Nicely done, guys. Thank you. I'm a PC gamer and a big fan of strategy games, especially 4X games, Explorer, blah, blah, blah. But I also enjoy playing on consoles sometimes. As you can already tell, there is no good strategy games on consoles. There are no. Okay, I'm just going to edit this. There are no good strategy games on consoles. I hope you would agree that the best way to play and enjoy a strategy game is with a mouse and keyboard. My question is, if the PS4 and the Xbox One would allow integration of mouse and keyboard into their systems, how would it change the console industry, and would strategy games become popular on consoles and attract more PC gamers into the console market? Thanks for your time. Best of luck with your future projects. That Siberian Guy."
We've talked about this before. And
have we?
Yeah. When we had Nick on, I believe we discussed it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, he's absolutely right. Strategy games like that are, depending on the game, of course, are generally much better when you're playing them on the PC. Now, if you have keyboard and mouse compatibility on the console, that you can have the compatibility, but you might not have the proliferation of that enables developers to really reap the rewards.
I see. The thing is that I don't really. I mean, maybe we talked about this last time. I don't remember that. We so many of these things that I don't understand why you would need a full keyboard. I mean, I think back to playing those games like Master of Orion or Master Magic or some of those 4X games.
Hotkeys, man.
Yeah, hotkeys. But there's no reason why you couldn't develop radial menu, or I mean, it's not like it's not like the Xbox or the PS3 controllers are exactly. They're not NES controllers. They already have a bunch of buttons that you could map to different things, and you could use those to quickly swap between different areas. I think that, to be honest, I honestly think that it has more to do with the fact that those games they aren't in vogue anymore.
You may be right.
That it's less about. I mean, it's the same question about where they're like. I remember this question when they're talking about RTS games, right, on the console, and why there aren't any good RTS games on the console, and I think it's because it's not financially, it's not like if you put out a new Master of Orion on the console, I don't think that it would sell very well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, everything is really okay, does it have a cover-based mechanic in it? Does it play like Gears? Does it play like Call of Duty? That kind of thing. Those other games all sell less usually.
But then you know what? I probably would have said the same thing about XCOM. XCOM did real well. Like XCOM, the last year's was Enemy Unknown or whatever. That was a real time. I mean, that was a turn-based strategy game that was on the console, and it worked fine.
How well did it do, though?
I don't know. I can look up.
I know it didn't do Call of Duty numbers.
Well, nothing does Call of Duty numbers.
Did they take a bath on it? The developer?
No, I don't think so.
So it was profitable.
I believe so. Here, let me see if I can look up the.
Okay.
What's it? Vamp, Jason, Vamp.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you don't really see a lot of those games anywhere anymore, even on the PC.
Well, there have been a few on Steam. There was one just recently. Yeah. Okay, so this is we're all in agreement, right? That VG Charts is not the best in the world for. Oh, fuck your sponsor, VG Charts.
Fuck them for trying to make money to support their lifestyle.
Point. All right, that's not that.
Yeah,
look at their search engine here.
They're still. I don't know. It seems like a lot of these types of games end up finding some sort of niche market, like adventure games of old. Those are still around. They're mostly on the iPad. Different iterations of them, or you can find them. On the discount bin, like immediately released to the discount bin. But they've got to be making money, like some of those Sherlock Holmes and Dracula games,
Yeah.
That stuff is still being made. It's just, it's not AAA by any stretch of the imagination.
Maybe all told, a little over a million units.
Million units? Okay, so that was probably profitable, probably?
That's not bad. I mean, it was a full-price game, right? So it was $60.
Yeah.
$60 million? I mean,
Probably profitable. I don't know what the budget was.
Well, remember that came together in like a year, right?
Did it?
Like it was... Because it used to be that when you were talking about XCOM, you were talking about the Take-Two one that is now the Bureau. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly they announced this. I think it was at 2012 E3, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, 2011 E3. Yeah. I remember that because I went there and then I heard a lot of the E3 coverage they were talking about. They were showing it, early builds of it behind closed doors, and it was out in 2012. And I mean, for a game that took a year and obviously didn't look like it had, they weren't going for like the super realistic $1 zillion budget thing. I think that's a pretty good return. But then again, we talked before about we live in an age where 3.5 million copies is a failure.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't, for Access doesn't to me seem like the sort of place that would necessarily, that would consider that a failure. I don't know. Maybe they did. And maybe these numbers are completely fucking wrong because it's VG Charts. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just going to take something like XCOM. Maybe like, for Access will come out next year and be like, XCOM was such a success, we're going to bring back Master of Orion. We're going to create the Master of Orion and put it out on consoles, and it's going to be fine. Because I mean, there was a day in an age where it made a lot more sense to have something on the PC because there's so many fewer buttons on the controller.
Okay, yeah,
and before the advent of the analog sticks, and when you had the second shoulder, before you had the second shoulder buttons, or there was a time where you just didn't have as many control surfaces as you have there. But now, especially coming up with the PS4, like you can imagine having a real-time strategy game or a game like this where you use the touchpad as a mouse on the actual screen. And to answer this person's, or to go into this person's question more than maybe they want me to, you can plug a mouse and a keyboard into a PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
it has support for it. And I'm
most
sure
people don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, like Counter-Strike on the PlayStation 3, you could play it with a mouse and a keyboard. So it would honestly just be the sort of thing where they could sell it and then say, yeah, just plug in a mouse and a keyboard. I think that you also then get into dicking with the demographic of like people want to sit on their couch and play this game. They don't want to have to bring a TV tray and hook a bunch of cables up across their living room and all that bullshit.
And again, most people just don't know. It's like
very true.
Most developers don't want to develop something that requires people to buy another peripheral.
Yeah. See, but I hope that it becomes a thing because then maybe we can get a new Star Control game.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Too long. Or I don't know. They finally auctioned off Homeworld. I just want another Homeworld game. Like
Homeworld was pretty rad.
That game was fucking badass. I keep wanting to bring it back up. I think they're putting out. Was there news they were making like an HD version of Homeworld? I think they're doing that. Anyway, all right. Well, let's see. This next email is from Tony. Tony says, "Dear Captain Murphy and the Almighty Beard Man, I've been a big fan of Nintendo since I was 5 when the NES first came out." Can we extrapolate how old this person is?
He's a little bit younger
30?
than us. Yeah. Early 30s.
Sadly, the Wii U has been a large disappointment so far with a limited launch selection, few impressive exclusives on the horizon, and a mediocre online catalog. Do you think the Wii U will end up being to Nintendo what the Dreamcast was to Sega? If so, do you think Nintendo icons like Mario, Link, and Donkey Kong would have a future on other systems as Sonic has? Thank you for reading, and thank you for so much for bringing Marsden back from the dead. Sincerely, Tony.
At E3 we saw a lot of stuff that Nintendo has coming up, and it's all of their powerhouse stuff. They got Donkey
you
Kong
did.
Country.
I didn't really see that much of it.
Yeah,
but.
it's got Donkey Kong Country and Mario Kart and the new Zelda with the Wind Waker and the Zelda on the well, that doesn't really count. It's on the 3DS. And
Bayonetta 2, Wonderful 101.
Well, I'm talking about like the flagship stuff,
the first party titles.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that, unlike Sega, Nintendo has all of that stuff where those are console sellers. People will buy a new console so they can play the new Mario game or so they can play the new Zelda game. So I don't think that I don't think the Wii U will be the end of them. They've got enough stuff coming up that is all Wii U specific.
Yeah.
And I think that'll keep them afloat. Whereas with like the example he used with the Dreamcasts and what have you, Sega didn't really have any of that. Sega had Sonic, and that was it.
What about Shenmue?
Yeah, everybody remembers Shenmue.
I really wanted to play that. I almost bought a Dreamcast just to play that one game.
Yeah, no, I'm not knocking Shenmue at all. I know it's got a rabid fan base,
Power Stone,
but yeah, Power Stone. But it's not. You don't look at the dude from Shenmue unless you're a gamer,
right?
And, even the most casual of gamers say, "Oh, that's Mario. Oh, that's Donkey Kong. That's Link."
Right.
You see Shenmue, whatever. You see Sonic, and a lot of people think, "Oh, well, Sonic, yeah, on the Nintendo." So no, I don't think this will be the end, but it's certainly they're not doing so hot, are they?
No, it's not. I mean, the fact that there was a full on news story last week that was something along the lines of like, this is a news story that they are developing Call of Duty Ghosts for the Wii U.
Yeah,
and it's like I mean, I don't know. We've talked about this multiple times before. But I just think that, to reiterate, Nintendo had a chance. If they would have come out like full, all cylinders firing right when the Wii U launched, and it would have been just like all these great games, and you want to play them.
Yeah.
And from there's feature parity between that and the PlayStation and the Xbox. If they had paid whatever amount of money it took to start getting this stuff, so that whenever anything, this is when I said Injustice didn't come out on the Wii U, and everybody was like, Injustice came out on the Wii U. If they had that kind of feature parity where everything was releasing there. Like, I'm going to take you know what? I'm going to look it up so that I don't get all stupid here, but correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but I'm pretty sure that the Deadpool video game didn't come out on the Wii U.
I have no idea. I don't think it did. But they had Smurfs too?
Yeah, they did. But it's that sort of thing where it's like, Windows, PlayStation 3, Xbox, is that I feel like what Nintendo needs to do that they haven't done yet is they have to give you a reason to plug your Wii U into your TV.
Yeah.
And leave it plugged in.
Yeah.
Because for me, whenever I'm done playing any of the stuff that we mess with,
you put it away.
I put it away.
The whole console goes away.
I mean, like, I shove it under my TV because I only need it once.
Like, I won't need that for a while.
Right. I only need it once every couple of weeks. And when I'm not using it, it's like, I don't want to fucking hook it up to my TV. I don't use it to play Blu-rays. I don't use it to watch streaming anything. Right. Like, you need a reason to keep that shit turned on and running. And for me, I don't know. But then I've come to realize that I'm jaded with Nintendo.
Yeah, sure.
I spent so many years under Nintendo's umbrella, just like, Nintendo, you just, whatever you put out, I'm totally going to buy it. And then, like, last week, they were like, oh, Earthbound came out for the Wii U. And I'm like, okay, I don't care. I played Earthbound already.
Well, a lot of people didn't. And they're, if they're a gamer and they've heard the glory that is Earthbound,
I guess. I mean, I guess it's just, maybe it's an age thing. I mean, maybe for me it was just that I was with Nintendo and I played everything Nintendo put out, and at a certain point, by the end of the Super Nintendo cycle, kind of sick of playing all those games. The Nintendo 64 came out, and I didn't like it. I didn't have one. I didn't like the way the controller felt in my hand.
Sure.
I mean, it was a long time before I was willing to get into the whole analog thing, but I didn't like the way that controller was laid out, so I didn't get one. And from there, I just dropped off until the GameCube.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel like I've been missing all that much by not getting Nintendo. There was a time, where Nintendo was the big thing, but since the PlayStation 1, I've pretty much been on the Sony train, and in this current generation, it was like, now I have everything. But, I mean, for you, if you didn't have to review video games, would you, like outside of Mario Kart, would you pull your Wii out to play anything on?
No. In fact, I don't even know where my Wii is right now.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But and really, as much as I love Mario Kart, that's well documented.
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired of it.
Well, because it's the same thing, right? It's
Yeah.
the same game over and over again, and you're expected to be in love with it every
Yeah.
single time. And
Oh, you put motorcycles in there. Okay,
yeah,
whatever.
Like that's not enough. That's not enough anymore.
Right.
Plus, it's been how goddamn long has it been since we had a Metroid game? And there's no Metroid game on the horizon
It's been a while.
since
yeah.
Other M and that whole
Yeah.
debacle. Which I never played Other M, but everybody says don't
Stinky.
don't
Yeah.
do it. I love Metroid. That's the one Nintendo franchise that I'm all about. And
Yeah, you finished it Super Metroid in 2 hours at one time.
yeah, it was great. I totally speedran the shit out of that game.
Uh-huh.
I was actually thinking I've always wanted to make a sequel to Super Metroid
Yeah.
because I love me some side scroll and Metroidvania, and after playing this weekend I was really digging into It'll Do, which is
Yeah.
obviously Zelda,
Yeah.
and Rogue Legacy, which is a lot like Castlevania, and I was like, man, I wish I was an indie game developer and I could make my Metroid sequel that I've always wanted to make. I mean, Dennis Dyack is making the spiritual successor to Eternal Darkness. It seems like anybody's just like, you know what, I really like that game, I wish I had a sequel. I'm just gonna go make it.
Yeah.
Just fuck it, man.
You should call it something else.
Yeah, we're just totally call it something
Yeah,
else.
It'll Do is like, man, I really like Link to the Past.
Yeah. Except people should know we're going to have a review for that game later on this week, but by the time you hear this podcast, it's probably not going to be up. That game is only like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
So
And such is the trouble with indie games. They're usually very short.
I don't know. It depends on for It'll Do, it was weird because it was like, I'm so familiar with how to play Zelda that the time just kind of whipped by and it was
Sure.
done. Like when I played the Swapper, that wasn't really more than about 3 hours, but it seemed a lot longer because
Yeah.
it was real, like, engaging. And Rogue Legacy took me 12 and a half hours to finish. So
It took me 30 minutes to be finished.
to be finished with Rogue Legacy,
Done with it.
you never gave it a chance, Jason.
I really didn't. I really didn't.
All right, so let's go on to our next one. This is from Edward. Ed space word on the site, I guess. All right. And he says, hey, guys, first I wanted to say thank you for answering my question about Mirror's Edge 2. This question may seem vague and maybe even a bit pretentious, but I am interested in hearing what you guys think. I think it might be a fun and interesting discussion to listen to. I think you may be mistaken, Ed, but we'll see. We've talked about this. I'm just warning you right now. We've talked about this a bunch of times before.
All right.
Hey, we'll talk about it again if anything has changed. At what point does a video game go from being a form of interactive entertainment to being capital A art? Or what does it take for a game to be art? I've been thinking about this for some time. While I was working on my MFA, the main focus my fellow composers and sound artists had was to add a higher level of interaction between the piece and the audience. It seems video games don't have this issue, as in order for the media to work, you have to interact with it, so it should be an easy transition into capital A art. Just a thought. As always, keep all the great content coming. Look forward to all the kick-ass stuff you guys have planned. And he signs convert to the invert Ed, so I got a fellow inverted controls player there. I think it's like I picked this one because it's been a while since we've talked about
Sure.
this, and we've been seeing a lot more stuff that probably falls into the whole games as art thing than maybe
Yeah.
the last time that we talked about this. But I don't know. Have your feelings changed at all about this since the last time we talked about it?
No. In fact, I think my definition of art has become much broader. It's like, who's to say, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you see some of these indie games, Call of Juarez, hell, Shadows of the Damned. Why is that not art? It's got plenty of art in it.
It goes back to this thing of anybody who wants to label capital A art and dismiss things that are, quote, not art. You're probably dealing with somebody who has some kind of crazy bias.
Yeah.
Because generally speaking, I mean, we've gotten to this point where it's like, well, everything is art, right? Like this food truck is serving me artisan food, out of the back of some greasy trailer on the side of some side street in East Austin.
Yeah.
Is that art? Is it not art? They're trying to label something like that.
Yeah. I think to say that games are not art I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
At this point, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. I mean, it's an interactive medium, and if you say that, it's just because you haven't looked at it. Is it you? I don't know. Like, I feel like you can make all kinds of reasons why games are not art, but you're just trying to make that argument.
Yeah.
That they're interactive in the same way that not
the standard bearer in that argument.
Yeah,
he's dead.
Well, yeah. Let's not. Yeah. But even when that was the case, though, I mean, we talked about that the last time this came up. Is even when that was the case, it's like, I don't know. I'm a real inclusionary kind of dude. Like, I'm like, why say that anything is not art? Because then you're just, you're just shoving stuff out of your little pretentious circle instead of including stuff. And I don't know. Maybe you could make an argument that cheapens the things that are art if everything is. But to be honest, these days, like post fucking Andy Warhol, have you been to an art museum and gone to the modern art section?
Yeah.
Capital A art is weird these days.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to 20 minutes of experimental jazz before? Like, or experimental classical music?
Right.
Like, some of that.
Yeah. Listen to that and then go look at the most pedestrian video game you can find.
Right.
Go look at Saints Row and tell me one of them is art and one of them is not.
Right. Or even like, there's even literature out there that is, go read Ulysses.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's like, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Right.
Is that art?
Sure. Why not? Why would it not be art? I mean, if your
Journey isn't?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. Anybody who's trying to tell you that things are not capital A art is probably a total douchebag.
Yeah, and here's the thing, is that one of Roger Ebert's big points was that, well, if it's interactive, it's not art. If it requires some participation from the audience, then it's not art.
What?
Yeah, that was one of his big points.
Why?
If it requires, I don't know.
So
and
playing
yet, I don't know if anyone ever. Well, I don't know if anyone ever called him out on this. But I'm quite certain he reviewed like some William Castle films. Like where vote on the ending.
Oh,
and he didn't disqualify those as being art.
That's a weird argument to me. I guess I never went into that. Like, why would that discount it? I mean, you're saying that all art must be passive. It's like you must sit there while the art watches over you.
Right.
Like if you move a finger or you do anything, then suddenly it's not art anymore. And you go, oh, I guess, but I don't know. That just seems weird because then that to me just brings up this question of then what is the artist?
Yeah. And then there's these interactive installations that you see to where, you walk into a museum and when you're standing in front of one picture, the lighting is different. And then you move a few feet to the right and the lighting and sound dynamically changes based on your position.
Sure.
It's like, is that not art?
Or video art pieces that react to where you are, stuff like I've seen art installations where you open stuff up or even like, what was that art installation with that woman who was sitting in the New York Museum who would just stare at you? Did you see this?
No.
The Artist is Present. It was the name of the. I was thinking that was the name of the installation. It's this woman who was a performance artist. I maybe talked to you about this outside of the show, but like she has been a performance artist for a long time. This slightly older woman, and she had this installation where she would come to the museum every day and sit in a chair, and you would sit across from her, and she would just stare into your eyes with no expression. She wouldn't say anything. And that they had all these, like, people had different reactions. Some people would get really uncomfortable. Some people would cry. Some people would do stuff. And that was her whole thing, was just sitting there staring at people.
What would your response be?
I don't know, man. Probably nothing.
Yeah. I think I would walk in and go, okay, whatever. And just
I guess
walking.
It's one of those sorts of things where it's like, how often in life do we just sit silently and stare directly into somebody's eyes for an extended period of time?
Yeah.
Kind of like one of those things.
Art is not about quality. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it just depends on your, I don't know. I don't think
you can't say if it's bad, that means it's not art.
What's that quote about? I don't know if it's I can't define pornography, but I know it when I see it or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of feel like once you start artificially labeling things and all you're doing is you're making somebody feel bad, where you're like, no, you haven't lived up to my expectation of what this is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Make it all art. Fuck it. But there was a thing in Austin they keep trying to get me to go to on Facebook where they're like, people get all these like colors pelted on them and then they run. There's like a marathon.
Really?
And you hit them with like colored powder or something. So they're all, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't like having things thrown at me or running.
Well, there you go. Maybe you could like just roll downhill on a skateboard. No.
Perhaps.
Nah. All right. Well, this next one is from, let's see, Jalen, something like that.
Yeah.
I think we've answered one from this guy before.
Yep, we have.
And he says, hey, guys, let's get into it. It's been brought up that Jeff likes to play as ladies when given the option. This raised an interesting question. Female protagonists are becoming more common. Female protagonists are becoming more common, or at least getting more time in the spotlight, but it doesn't seem to really be gaining traction as most female gamers would like. Do you think male gamers and companies oppose or just don't choose to tell the story of female protagonists because they fear doing it wrong and getting shit rained down on them? Thanks for the great laughs. P.S. I am a dude. You got to point that out.
Okay. Yeah.
This is... I feel like we're getting a lot of the same questions.
Yeah, yeah, we've talked about this a little bit.
I mean, the main thing... Like, we can get into some of the other tertiary stuff, but the main thing is that the demographic for these games is dudes.
Sure.
I mean, like, the main demographic sweet spot for these games, that's how I understand it, is, like, you know, males aged 14 to 30. And so when you have a protagonist that is a generic white male aged 14 to 30, that most people can empathize with that, and it tends to draw them more into the game than not.
I would like to hear from some of our female listeners, see what they think. Are there enough female protagonists in games? Do you feel like that there's parity there with the gender balance in the audience?
I don't know. We talked about this before a long time ago, and I'm curious to know if your attitude has changed at all. But like I've said before, that to me, it's that the main protagonist in a game doesn't really factor into my immersion. Like, the main character can be a man, a woman, black, white. It doesn't really, none of that really matters in my immersion to the game because it's just an avatar. And I've spent so long, I think that I attribute a lot of it to back in the old days when your avatar into the game was this pixelated sprite or a box or some bullshit that you had to use your imagination. So it's not like I was looking at the screen going, that doesn't look like me. I can't get into this.
I don't know. I mean, if it depends, because there's two different approaches, as we've talked about before. Is it the tabula rasa, the empty vessel that you put your personality into, or is it someone that very much has a personality like Lara Croft or John Marsden, where you can get attached to their story?
Right.
I tend to prefer the latter.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I totally understand if you're, if it's just quote unquote you there in the game and you're keeping it a blank slate, then create whatever you want. And if let Jeff get his rocks off by making a lady and running around the galaxy fighting aliens or whatever.
Whatever. I don't understand why that's weird, to be honest. You give me shit for that, I just don't understand it. I'm like, ever since
no, man, it's
ever since Tomb Raider, it's just been like, why wouldn't I want to look at a hot lady the entire time?
Whenever,
because it doesn't. Okay. Because the thing is that I don't self-identify as the main character of the game. It is simply, like I said, an avatar that you use in this game. So it's not like deep inside I want to be Lady Commander Shepard. I mean,
I think you maybe do.
You think so?
Yeah,
is that what you think?
A little bit, maybe so.
I don't know.
Sometimes when you get drunk, it's like, no, you call me FemShep. You call me FemShep. Respect my choices.
Yeah, I don't know.
No hate.
To me, it seems weird that it's even a weird thing. It's honestly one of those things that I didn't even know anybody would think it was weird until the first time I went to go do it on one of our videos, and you were like, why do you keep picking lady?
You do it a lot. You do it more than any other.
I normally do. That's what I normally play a game with a lady avatar. And and it was the first time that we were doing that, and you pointed it out. I was just like, oh, is that weird? Yeah. I don't understand why that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, are you saying that you never do? You always play as a male avatar?
I wouldn't say always, but usually.
Usually?
Yeah, I don't know. I maybe always. It might be always.
Might be always?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it just never...
But it never bothers me whenever, like, I'm playing Mirror's Edge, and I don't sit there and think, oh, I wish it were a guy.
Right.
And that never occurs to me.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, maybe it's also just the fact that we have so many games out there that are the grizzled white, generic white dude.
Yeah.
It's like given the choice, I'm like, I don't care.
Something else.
Asian lady, black man, anything but the grizzled white dude.
Right.
Old black. Oh, wait. Has there ever been a game where you played an old black man? Yes, there has. Bad Day L.A. by American McGee.
Oh, let's never talk of that again.
So yeah, I don't know. I think that I second your motion for let's hear from some of the ladies on Rage Select in the comments about, do you guys feel like there's an inequity here? And do you, I mean, at this point, I'm curious to know if the ladies even care. Like, do you really feel like it's like the games, it's hard for me to even understand whether these games are very waspy white dude centric, because that it's hard for me to think out, or not really super hard. I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't make me sound like a douchebag, but you kind of understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally do.
That seems like it's portrayed so often that it seems normal.
Yeah.
I don't really ever get the impression. Like, now when we played Remember Me, it wasn't like I was like, oh, this is weird. It feels wrong. So I wonder if it's if for female gamers, if they've spent so long playing as grizzled white guy protagonists that it just doesn't even register at all.
For some of them, probably.
Maybe so. All right. Well, hit us up in the comments and let us know. And I've got one last question here to round out our show, and it is for you, Jason.
Oh, boy.
It's from Chris. Where does Jason's hate for juggalos come from?
Ignorance, man. Ignorance. Yeah. It's these people that are just embracing ignorance. You never please prove me wrong. Maybe you can send me something that proves me wrong, but it seems like most of them are idiots.
Yeah.
And I can't stand that. And it's just that embracing like white lower class suburban thug life. I'm like, better yourself, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Read a book. Get an education. Listen to some Chet Baker.
Tell me,
do something where you're not just rapping about raping women and putting face paint on and hanging out and wearing baggy clothes and smoking weed until your brain rots. I sound like an old man, but god damn.
Would it let me
stop being a fucking moron and stop being proud of being a fucking moron in a group of fucking morons.
Let me ask you this. Would it be better if they didn't have The Gathering? Is that the thing that pushes you over the edge? Because I mean, there's a lot of irritating suburban white, rock and roll or whatever. There's a lot of dumb bands.
Oh yeah,
with dumb
there's
followers.
Lots of idiots out there.
Yes.
Yeah. No, The Gathering I think is a good thing because there's probably just disease rampant, and one day Captain Trips is going to walk through there with his fucking scythe and just mow everybody down. I just got to think that all it takes.
The good Lord is going to come down.
Yeah, God's going to cut you down. To quote the Man in Black, I just got to think that just there's. I got my fingers crossed. Maybe this is the year. Maybe
this is it.
The year. Maybe
this is the one.
Because the Gathering of the Juggalos is about to happen. Maybe there's just one antibiotic resistant strain that is just gonna run like wildfire through the Gathering and turn everyone's insides into liquid shit. Oh, praise be to Allah. Please so let them keep gathering in one place. It's easier that way.
I mean, I've always thought, to me it's always been, I don't necessarily hate them as much as it's confusing and funny to me. I'm like, hardcore clown rap? What? Like that? I just don't understand how it even became a thing in the first place. Like, it was like, I remember when Crisscross was popular and everybody wore their clothes backwards for like a month, and then they went away.
Yeah,
and then I remember when the Gathering of or when the ICP first started, it was like white clown rappers. That's interesting, but to understand that it's still here. Yeah. Like 10 years later, and there's still
maybe it's some sort of white shame, because I think every race has some piece of shit subsection that just makes everyone else. It's like, listen, juggalos, you're making all white people look like racist, white trash, dumb fucks.
Well, stop. Is ICP? I don't know. I've never listened to them. Are they racist?
I don't know.
Or is it just that they attract?
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna look at Gathering of the Juggalos pictures. I bet anything that it's primarily white, and that there are more than one rebel flags displayed proudly.
Huh.
Yeah.
That seems like a weird thing, though.
Maybe they're not racist.
Maybe they're not racist?
Maybe they're not.
Maybe
I don't know. They preach about family and everything. So even, you know what? Even if take the racist thing off the table. Take it off the table.
Yeah.
They still, they got to go.
Celebrating the dumb? Celebrating the dumb. Is that what you're saying?
It's just like, oh, yeah, we're white trash. We're a family and proud of it. It's like, God, take a bath. Get some new clothes that fit. Get an education. Learn how magnets work.
Learn how magnets work. Oh God, it's such a played out meme, but I fucking love that shit.
Read a book.
I really hope.
And I'm not the smartest honky on the block by any stretch of the imagination, but I like to think that I do not revel in I'm going to go out to this giant fucking trailer park and watch backyard wrestling and listen to misogynistic rap while wearing face paint and catching diseases and not bathing for 3 or 5 days or whatever.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is that you're just describing Burning Man, but with clown face paint on.
Don't even get me started about Burning Man.
Okay, all right. Well, see, for me, and the other thing is that not too long ago, was it one of our listeners who sent it to you or posted on Twitter or something, like this OK Cupid, this Tumblr that was just the juggalos on OK Cupid.
Oh my God, it's so good.
It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like that shit was great. Like juggalos seeking other juggalos for dumb juggalo shit, and it was like, awesome.
Yeah.
Keep it up, juggalos. This is more entertaining than anything I could ever think of. Like, somebody needs to make a game about trying to, like a dating simulator of trying to find juggalos on OkCupid.
Yeah. If you're the short order cook at Denny's and you're using most of that money to buy cheap skank weed and to hang out with your bros and listen to ICP in the back of your fucking Civic in the parking lot of the Walmart on a weekend, you need to reprioritize.
So specific, Jason.
I got their number.
Mental image, man.
I got their number.
All right. Well, I hope that answers your question, Chris, about why Jason hates the juggalos. So we cannot do this show without your questions. Send your questions to mail@rageselect.com. I'm going to say this again. I'm really trying hard with you guys. I'm really trying hard. Don't send this mail.
It's trying real hard, Ringo.
So I really am. To the administrative part of the website. Don't go to the website and click on the admin button. Don't send it to rageselect@gmail.com. I swear to fucking God, I'm just deleting you guys' emails when you send them there. Send them to mail@rageselect.com. I'm going to start putting a link in with this podcast for you to send your mail to mail@rageselect.com. I'm going to say it one more time, mail@rageselect.com. So until then, we're going to hopefully have some reviews for you guys this week.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, if I have enough time.
Have we done any reviews on this site yet?
Yeah.
We did?
The last one we did was Last of Us.
Oh, right.
It's been a long time, and to be honest, we've got people out there who have been asking us, and like, where are the reviews? And the answer has been that
where are the games?
We've been really busy, and we've been like trying to. It takes time to do stuff. But I spent most of this weekend beating games, so we're gonna go back and we're gonna give you guys reviews for a bunch of stuff this week. It's gonna be older stuff, but fuck it. I mean, what do you want to review? Smurfs 2? We could probably do that. Do we want to review?
I don't know. I got other shit to do, man.
All right, folks. Well, I guess then we will see you in a week. Take it easy.